All right, my name is Mariah Yori. I'm going to be talking to you today about the forage effects on goat milk palatability in pasture-based systems. This is a concern because we are having an increasing number of backyard dairy goats as more people get into, the homesteading, shop small, buy local movement. I thought it was put very well in this paper by Kieran that I used as one of my sources. They said this is mostly due to a rise in consumer awareness with regard to health benefits, food traceability and authentication, food and environmental sustainability, animal welfare, local origin of food production, and organic production. And so a lot of people are having these small backyard farms, these homesteads, and because they are small, dairy goats are a perfect option for them because they require less acreage, less housing. They are cheaper to feed than dairy cows. And so all these people that are wanting this local source of milk, they're turning to dairy goats. However, especially with dairy goats, milk quality can be a problem for these homestead producers. I know when you think about goat milk, you probably think, oh, that's gross. That's goaty. It's going to taste like goat. This is actually a myth. Properly handled goat milk from a healthy animal should not taste goaty. It should taste very similar to cow milk, maybe a little bit creamier, but there are different reasons why that off flavor milk can exist because there can be unsanitary milking conditions, improper milk handling, unhealthy animals, genetics, and diet. I'm not going to go too far into most of these. You can pause this and read these if you would like, but today we're going to be focusing on diet. So silage and alfalfa and large amounts of concentrates can affect the taste of milk. However, that's not what I'm going to be focusing on because those are pretty easy to manage and change if you're noticing that taste. That's why I want to look instead at forages and more of the wild plants that your animal might get to out in their pasture. And while I'm talking about goats today, most of the research that I found was based on cows, just because very few people have done this sort of research in goats, but the idea is the same. So the main culprits for this off-flavor milk in a forage-based system are going to be wild onion, wild garlic. Those are going to be your two biggest ones. You're going to have mint, bird's foot, trefoil, ivy, oak, bitter weed. That is a big one out west, and brassicas like cabbage and kale. Now, when you think about a lot of these things, you're immediately in your mind, just from your experiences with them, you're going to know that they are very aromatic, very astringent type smells. And that is what is leading to this phenomenon, because what you're smelling is those volatile organic compounds. These are the short chain fatty acids that are produced by the plant, usually as a defense or communication mechanism. Like that's why when you cut your grass, that's where you're getting that cut grass smell from. That is those plants releasing their volatile organic compounds. Like I said, these are usually very smelly or very bitter, sometimes very sweet taste, very sharp. And it's broken down to classes like esters, acids, terpenes, alcohols, sulfurs, etc. Now, this is two examples. Dimethyl disulfide, that is a sulfur volatile organic compound, and this is responsible for a lot of your onion and garlic tastes. Then on the right here, you have beta phalandrine, that is going to be responsible for minty tastes. So those are just two of the examples of some of the VOCs that are going to be found in these plants. Now, how this works is that there's two routes of transmission for these volatile organic compounds to be absorbed into the milk. First, they can either be absorbed through the digestive tract in the rumen and the intestines, or they can be inhaled through the pulmonary system, through the lungs. And either of these two methods, they enter the bloodstream they're routed to the mammary system. And because of these capillaries, you can see in my picture on the right, these capillaries that lead into the alveoli in the mammary system that make the milk, these components are diffused into the mammary glands, and now you have these volatile acids in your milk. And that is going to give them those tastes. It's going to give them that onion flavor. If they've eaten onion, it's going to give them that minty flavor. It's just going to change your milk. And so to manage this, you're really going to want to know what is in your pasture, really good pasture management, walking out there, seeing what there is, seeing what your goats are eating. And if necessary, like if you're seeing that there's these plants out there that are producing these off flavors in your milk, you might want to try rotational grazing and maybe putting other animals on that pasture that might eat those weeds that you are not milking. You may just have to go in and hand weed those pastures, or you may even need to seed those pastures with some specific grasses to try and knock out those weeds. Other methods that have been shown to help with these off flavors are milk pasteurization. That helps to get rid of some of the flavors. Addition of concentrates to diets, that lowers the amount of these VOCs that end up in the diet and therefore dilutes that taste in the milk. Or timing the grazing around milking. Babcock did a lot of different studies about timing different feeds with milking, after milking, before milking. And while a lot of them have different times where they are noticeable in the milk, usually a couple hours before you milk, if you could take them off that pasture that might be causing problems, or just wait and put them out in the pasture after you milk. Those things should all help with these problems, and that should help your milk to be tasting fresh. And if all of your other issues are under control, if you've got proper milk sanitation, proper handling, and healthy animals, your milk should be tasting fresh and not tangy and goaty and gross like a lot of people think it will. And you will be much happier with your goats and their products. And that was my presentation. I hope you learned something, and thank you for listening.